No, no. Test 1, 2. Welcome, Pak Osman.
Hi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Pak Osman. We're
Who
still
is
early.
Who is with the gun?
Your gun is keys. My after account. So we have so far 2 participants, Puput and Willie.
Hi, Puput. How are you? Thanks for coming, Puput.
Hey, Osman.
Hi.
Hey, Faiz. How are you?
Hello, Faiz.
Hey, Willie.
I just finished a whole 8 hours marathon
Yes,
at
Pak.
ITC bersama Puput.
Yes, Pak. I'm fan of Pak Osman, so I will stay here.
It's very dark here, you know, it's going to rain anytime soon.
And it's quite cool on the eastern side of Singapore too. So nice.
Good. Yeah, okay.
Finally lah, some respite. Osman, if you want to go grab a rest or what, since you had an 8-hour shift, you can.
No, I rested already. I did a little bit of exercises just to make sure I can sit up straight because my pinggang sakit lah. So anyway, I did my breathing already, so I think I can last another 1.5 hours. So it should be okay. And it's raining now. It's raining. Wow, fantastic.
That's good. Great weather.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And after this, I'm having my small session.
Small session. Oh my God. Okay.
Small session. I organized a mini competition, and it's all the songs from Brori Marantika. 20 songs. Who can sing the most? And then there will be 5 prizes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it depends on who can sing most lah. Yeah. So,
okay. So that will bring you just nice towards Maghrib, towards Buka.
no, I mean no. That will be after 20 songs. No joke, you know. Let's say one song 5 minutes. So I at times 20 lah.
Okay.
Marathon.
Well, if anyone can do it, you probably could. So how many followers do you have in the spiel now?
Huh?
How many followers do you have on spiel?
I don't know, quite a lot. I mean, not okay. I belong to a group in Malaysia, but I have a lot of fans in Europe, in even in US, and in US they are Indonesians, you know. Some that I know, they are living in Houston apa segala macam. Finally they say, it's you again. The best, everybody call me uncle di sana. Uncle. Thank you.
You're truly enjoying yourself. Your fourth chapter. Well, we have more participants streaming in. Welcome, Brother Ali. Welcome, Isman. There's Eka. There's Harry. And we'll just wait for a while for the other participants to stream in. Thank you for coming, for joining us today. So today is going to be our launch or kickoff for this ground-up conversations, and today is going to talk about social impact. And I think our speaker is here already today, with Osman, and I'll let him do his introductions later on, right? Just for those who enjoy this or are interested to know more about the conversations that we have, we will be having more conversations just like this, right? And you'll be over the next every fortnight, right? So the next session will be on the 18th of May with Isman, who talks about business agility, about speed, nothing without control. And then subsequently, we have a session with Mr. Hananto Dondi on social impact as well, from a funder's perspective. So look out for these sessions. I'm going to flash this again later on. So if you're interested in such conversations and want to keep following us, you can register for the next upcoming sessions as well. So we will be having such conversations every 2 weeks on every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Singapore time and 3 p.m. Waktu Indonesia Barat. All right. Okay. Let me see. We're at 4:03, so we give another 2 more minutes before we start off.
Oh, it's good time to sleep now with this heavy rain.
Yes. Just nice to cool off before the day ends, right?
Yeah. In Indonesia, I think Puput is here, Hari is here. In Indonesia, we call this ngabuburit.
Yes, Pak.
Ngabuburit.
Ya, ngabuburit.
So we all get together and celote-celote sedikit while waiting for the time to buka puasa. No, I used to do a lot of ngabuburit before when I was in Jakarta. And it's good for networking because people will come. Ngabuburit, you know, they will finish about 3 o'clock and all. I say, let's ngabuburit, and after that we buka puasa bersama. Now we go hotel. I mean, that's the best networking to do. And then you can maaf-maafan segala macam. All your sin for the last 1 year, it's all gone. Become 0. Ngabuburit, yeah.
With a G, right? Ngabuburit.
Yeah.
Yes, very cool.
Ngabuburit. Yeah,
Yep.
ngabuburit.
Yeah, I remember this. Yeah, we used to do this, the ABC conversations at FX, the pod, and we do it during bulan puasa, and so we had to come together and get together and have the breaking of fast together. So that was very fun. With back then was the Rotractors or Rotarians. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Fauza?
Go ahead. No, okay. I'm not.
All right. Okay, so we're at 4:05, 4:06 right now. So I think we should just kick off the session. And again, I would like to welcome everyone to this session, Ground-Up Conversations. And this is part of a longer series of conversations that we want to do every fortnightly. And today we're talking about social impact. I'm showing you the upcoming sessions that we're going to have on the 18th of May, as well as 1st of June, and then different topics. We'll come back to this again. So if you enjoy the session and then you would like to sign up, then you either can follow us on LinkedIn, or you can just later on scan the QR code and register for next sessions. Okay. All right. So today, okay, this is conversation on social impact. So today we have Bapak Osman Aman, and he, I've known him quite a while, of course, yes. And when I met him and I got to know the things that he's done, it's actually quite amazing in terms of the type of his adventures in a sense across several countries, as well as his endeavors to develop new projects which has considerable social impact, right? Pak Osman is he has been in oil and gas industry for a bit more than 40 years, if I correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah.
And in Indonesia alone, almost 30 years or so, right? And
36. Yeah.
36 years, okay. Yeah, and so but that is his main profession, but in the other things that he does, he was also heavily involved with Rotary International or Rotary Indonesia, at one point being the district governor for Rotary Indonesia. What it means is basically the whole of Indonesia, all the Rotary clubs, all under him, right? And he also was a membership coordinator for a certain part of Asia, which covers several countries from Pakistan, India, all the way down to Singapore, Thailand, Indonesia, so on. So he has played those roles, and in that sense, he'll share a bit more about what he's done. And he was also the builder of the Singapore International School. For those of you who are familiar with it, there's several schools of it in Indonesia already, and also he helped to build the Singapore PSB school and subsequently Merlion school. So those are the few things that he's done. But I think I will not take more time away from him because he has so much things to share. So I'd like to welcome Pak Osman, Aman, just to give a sharing in terms of a bit more about yourself and a bit of your background. On Pak Osman, please.
Where do I start?
Okay, let me see. Let me get this slide proper down. Okay. Right.
No,
Okay,
first of all, thank you guys for coming.
Yep.
I mean, and thank you for the very brief, very short, but I think quite a good presentation of what I did in the past. And, I thank you for that. Thank you for inviting me here. And for those who respond to this, and thank you for trying to listen to me. I hope I won't bore you. You know, if you say it's boring, you know that there's this reaction thing there that you can say, hey, stop, you know. Because I remember I was stopped in Australia one time, you know, that I spoke for 20 minutes about tsunami. And the guy put up his hand and said, you got to stop talking, you got to stop talking. And I said, yes, why? He said, you need to stop now because you can sell ice to the Eskimos. I looked at him, I said, yeah, okay, then I laughed. Yeah, okay. That's the introduction. Please, hope.
Okay, so basically, Pak Osman, if you can, apart from whatever I shared a bit about yourself, right? I think would you like to elaborate a bit more in terms of basically what your passions are, what you do, what are you doing right now? No, you've been to many places and lots of adventures. So just maybe a bit about what you're doing right now. Going ahead, yeah.
Well, if right now I'm doing nothing, I'm retired, I'm still retained by a company in Jakarta to sit around and listen to people and maybe talk once a month, like Puput knows what I did there. So, okay, tell us a bit about yourself. I'm a kampung boy lah. When I'm a kampung boy, I stay in a kampung for a long time. And when I was small, during my younger days, this kampung is a small kampung in the middle of a semi-detached houses around. So you can see a small kampung and then all the rich people around. So even before I got to school at that time, if I go to school, I was always looking at all these rich people having nice cars and all these things. And I always like to daydream about being like that one of these days. So I normally I would find a secluded place, sit under a bridge beside the river, water passing, and I would think, what can I do to help the community? That was when I was small. I mean, I was thinking, now that I think, what did actually I do at that time? Because I spent hours just sitting under the bridge, watching waterfall and just daydreaming. And then I found out that I normally think about what can I do to enable these people to be better, you know? And at that point of time, I always have this dream that I need to be a leader if I want to do that. I need to lead somehow. Yeah, you don't have to be prime minister to lead, but you need to lead the community. And the other part that I always think about is you have to be brave enough. You have to be daring to be different. These are the three things that very clear in my mind that what did I do when I was younger. And well, academically, I'm an average guy, lah. Average student, not too good and all those things. But I was glad that I get to go to a premier school in Singapore. My father, who was a driver at one time, took me downtown and said, "Hey, look at this school." He said, "This is where all the leaders, all the smart people are, and you need to think about coming to this school." And that was when I was in primary school. He was telling me that. I said, "Well," he didn't force me to do anything. He just tell me, "Look at this school, it's nice." But then when it's time to choose for the school, at the end of PSLE in Singapore, then he said, "Put this name down." So I put it down, and lucky enough, I got in. I I got in, but I don't know how, because I'm just a normal student also. I got in there, but I tell you, I mean, that was the best thing that could happen to me in my life, because I when I was there, all my report cards, most of them would be red. Very little black and blue and everything. It's always red, because I I try to skip classes most of the time. I become very active in extracurricular activities because this school provided. I become chairman of cities, chairman of history society, chairman of geography society, secretary of Malay LDDS, captain of, and everything. That's all. So, and I was doing that, and I finally realized that when I was older, I said, how can I become that good? I tell myself good. Then I realized that I coined this thing that I do. The watch Rolex. Rolex, right?
Yep.
Rolex.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rolex, yep.
This is the steel one now. And I said, that's the type of education. That's my model of education that brings me to where I am today.
So
R
what
is for
Rolex?
read. R is for read. Read. I read, but not study. I read so that I know. I read so that I have knowledge. I don't read to study because I don't like. I don't like to take exam. That's the worst part. I always take back in class. And then the O is observe. Observe. I like to observe people, see how they do, always curious, and I will try to find out how they do it. I mean, I don't argue. I said, wow, fantastic. I'm always fascinated the way people do things. So between read and observe, I learn. Again, learn here is learn to do, not learn to take exam. Learn to be able to do.
Yep.
And when I know I can do that, I go to the E. I experimented. Right? I experiment so many things, and then at the end, I cheated a little bit. It's experience. I use just the X. I experienced so many things, and that's how I do it. So I got to get into this premier school, but my father died when I was in Sec 2, Sec 3, I think. So no chance to go further lah. So at the end, when I finished I got to go through HSC. When I finished that, I decided that, I've got 6 siblings, no way for me to go further. So I decided to go to work. And I wanted to go to work. I have never applied for a job. You all need to know this. I have never written a letter to ask for a job. So I went to look for my father's friend. My father was a driver, right? And he had so many driver friends. And they are all chauffeurs, drivers of managing directors or what have you, all top class. And I used to help my father wash the car every morning at that time when I was younger, so that I get extra 10, 20 cents for spending money, That's the way I would do it. So I go there. So when I want to look for the job, I go back to these people because I realized that they should have contacts, because they are driving for bosses. So I went, and they like me because I so rajin, every time wash the car and all the thing. My father, and they say, "Hey, how are you?" and all the thing. What have you finished school? I said, "Yeah." "Are you going to continue?" "No." But I said, I don't have money, but I'm looking for work. So if you know something, let me know. And one of the drivers says, "I just joined this company. It is in Loyang. It's oil and gas company. They manufacture, repair, inspect downhole drilling equipment." They said, "Go there and talk to this gentleman. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I said, fine. So I took a bike and no, but bicycle at that time, like bicycle, ride for 30 kilometers from Queenstown down to Loyang. And early in the morning, I was there. 7 o'clock, I was waiting because I know that this gentleman arrived at 7:30 into the workshop. This is a big machine shop. I look machine shop, machines and all those things. So when he arrived, opened the car door, I was there. I said, good morning. You so and so? He said, yes. My uncle tell me to talk to you because you can give me a job. That's why he looked at me. He woke up. He's 7 foot. He's 6'2".
Yep.
Right? He looked up at me. He said, are you old enough to work? Because I must be very tiny like that time, you know. And I said, yeah, of course. Yeah. So he said, come on in, sit down. And what I did was I brought a photo album with pictures of all the activities I did in school. Remember school, I have extracurricular activities. I was chairman of this, chairman of that, and all those things. So I opened, there was dance competition, there were so many things, you know. And then I was telling him stories about it and all those things. So within 10, 15 minutes, he called the office manager. He said, come here. Say, give this guy a letter. That was in January, yeah? Give this guy a letter. Tell him to come in on May 2nd. I have a job for you. And he stood up and he went out. So I was sitting down there and the office manager said, just wait, you know, he's going to type a letter. So I called him, what job? The office manager said, I don't know. What job? So he just typed a letter, asked me to come May 2nd to start my job. May 2nd, 1970. So I started work. I went there. So the job is like, if you have laborer, I'm just a little wee bit above the laborers. You know, laborer get $8, I get $9 a day or something like that. So, but I tell you, that was where I learned everything for about 6-7 years.
Yeah.
I started there. I was in there. They put me in the store. I look at machines. I'm not, I don't know anything. I'm not an engineering student or whatever you. They look at all the stuff, you know, and machining and all that. So I started learning there. So from rackman, I became a shopkeeper, a storekeeper. I became I did accounting, I did shipping, I did operations and all those things. Yeah, after 5 years, I was operations coordinator. And on the 6th year, there was a change in management. The operations manager went back. The new operations manager was delayed 7 months. And I was there. The area manager called me to the office. He said, Osman, can you sit on a chair and do whatever you can? I said, how can? He said, look, I remember this. He said, look, Osman, I watch you talking on the phone to a customer. If I was on the other end of the phone, he said, I will melt. You're very sweet. A man telling you, you're very sweet. I look at him and say, yeah, okay, I do it. So I had 7 months as an acting operations manager without any training. So when this guy,
I think it's just to interject. Sorry to interject, but I think it's very exciting that you're sharing. But just to relate to everyone, I think your experiences, the fact that you dared to do something and then you actually went with the gut and you took the opportunities and challenges that's presented to you, right? And then you just ran with it. I think that's something which probably is evidence of and part of how you have embraced the other challenges that you see in future, because I think it's in the same spirit that many of the things that you did, right, from actually going into a job without a CV, you know, just photo albums, right, and then subsequently trying to step up to become an operations manager without any training, right, that those are basically really in the spirit of being very brave, being daring, being to take action. I think that's something which is very effective for at this phase and subsequently later on when you talk about the projects that you do, right?
Yeah, sure. No, I want to continue here because when this man comes in, there was a conflict between me and him. So, but he said, Osman, it's like this, you know. Whenever I leave, I make sure you get this job. So I come down a little bit, no problem. But then in next year, in 1977 early, there was this project, you know, that the company wanted to start up Iran. And my boss was slated to go there. I was so happy because I said, if he goes, I become operations manager. But he turned it down, so depressed. Then another miracle happened. there was a barbecue at the workshop in May of 77. And it was to be attended by a lot of oil and gas people from Asia, Southeast Asia. And the big boss came in. So, so I thought, well, he comes in, I'm going to talk to him about Iran. So when he comes in, I just asked him a question. I said, Mr. So-and-so, tell me, why can't I go to Iran? That's exactly the question I asked. He looked at me. I mean, he looked at me, stared, didn't smile, didn't say anything, walk away. I asked a question, you have to answer it. No, but then 2 weeks later, the letter is dated May 13. 2 weeks later, my boss's boss called me to the office and said, Osman, read this letter and call him if you like it. The letter says, talk to Osman. He has an overseas assignment in Ahwas if he is interested, because we need somebody with his capabilities and experience. Very short letter. So I immediately went to the office, called him, I said, I'm on. So July 1, I was ready in Ahwas, Iran. And with my family, my wife and 2 kids. And little did I know, when I arrived in Iran, I thought it was like Singapore and all those things, you know. When I arrived in Iran, it was an empty building. So I started the workshop right from scratch, from zero, arrived July 1, but it was ready to go October 19 to cut iron. Yeah. That I mean, can you imagine? Not an engineer, nothing and all those things, but I tell you something. How do I test for electricity? I cut off the drill, put the wires out and just put them together there. Zzz. When the drill goes, zzz, that's how I check. Because I don't know, we don't have test pen. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, Iran didn't last long, because as you know that the Shah came back. Shah got out, and I had to evacuate everybody there. Oh, this is something you need to know. I am the Asian operations manager, a small guy with about 22 Caucasian employees from everywhere, America, whatever, and all the things. They all sit down there. And they bully me like hell, you know, because I have to take care of the dogs, cats, everything, everything, you know how they expect treat you. But anyway, I survived. And then when we got out of Iran, they put me in research and development in Houston, right? Okay. And I thought, why, it's something big and all that thing. Little did I know that they had planned that they want me to go back to Iran to recover the investment. Of course, I no, they didn't ask me directly. Can you go? Mm-hmm. I mean, the way they talk, you know, if you have empathy, you said, finally you said, do you want me to go? and this is what I heard. Like I see in the film show, you know, when I said I would go, they said, but you must understand this. When you go in there, you're on your own. And I heard about.
I think it's great to see. Basically, you have always been put in positions where basically it's almost, you know, it's like no holds barred, and it's, you know, have to try get in through. So I'm trying to go back to the topic on social impact. I think
So let me just go a little bit. Then I finish that. I go back to Singapore, and I stayed for a while. Didn't like it. Then I left. I go to Indonesia. Right. I go to Indonesia. I thought that I was smart enough by then, because I did everything plus research and development and all those things. I started my business in 1984. In 1983, I sold my first business. Right? Make money. Then I start my second business. Then the first business, I had partners and all those things lah. Ada hutang segala macam. The second business, at least I'm free, because I paid everything back. And from then on, I got, I mean, those were the times that I was able to do so many things for Indonesia itself and myself and people at large. So basically that's what it is. And now I would say that I spent about 40 over years as in my employment. Out of that 40, I spent about 13 years as an employee, 36, 37 years as an entrepreneur. Today, for the past 8 years, I go back to becoming a professional. That's basically what it is. Okay, your question now.
Okay. So one of the key things, thank you so much for sharing in terms of your experience going all the way to Iran and then coming back and building your own business. And one of the key things which I hope to gain from you, you know, in terms of your experience in Rotary, you know, you were in Rotary International for 20 years. If you could just share a bit about what is Rotary and why you joined them, because then subsequently the key thing that we want to go towards is really the Rotary Youth Centre. I think we'll get to that, but at least could you just share with us quite briefly what is Rotary and what made you join them? I think back 1990 or so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Rotary is an organization that was established back in 1904. So today is about 117 years, you know. So basically, it's a global network of people across the world who cares about other people's dilemma, and they wanted to create lasting change, you know, especially for the underprivileged, help them in humanitarian as well as educational business. So that's basically what it is. And they have what, membership of about 35,000 membership today. 35,000 clubs, sorry. Rotary clubs all over the world in about 180 countries. Their membership will be total about 1.2 million today. And they are all, you can't say all business people, but people who have profession. The first thing is they have a profession. Even if you are a clerk, you are a professional. I mean, whatever you do, if you have a job, it's a profession. So people who have a profession, who cares about others, who gets together to do something for the good. Basically, that's what Rotary does. And if some of you, and if you know the word like polio plus, that was one of the largest Rotary program worldwide. It has been going on for maybe 20 years, I think. They try to eradicate polio from the face of the earth. And they've got funding from everybody lah. Warren Buffett, Melinda Gates Foundation, very, very big money there. And also, I mean, a lot of Rotarians donate to it. We put about, every Rotarian put about $1,000 a year. So you count 1.2 million. There's a lot of money.
About 1.2 billion. Yeah. All right, great. I think that's great to hear. And I understand that you became the district governor of Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
That was in the year 2000.
2002.
2002. All right.
2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you became district governor, basically, subsequently, what do you do as a district governor there?
Well, it's it's the governor for the whole of Indonesia. I met the governor of Jakarta one time when there was this flood, you know. Everybody says, Pak. I was district governor at that time. Come, meet the governor of Jakarta, So met him, shake hand, he said, I'm so and so, governor of DKI. I said, Osman Aman, governor of Rotary Indonesia. So it's big, you know. So, well, I was invited to Rotary. I mean, Rotary is invited by invitation and all the thing. But when they invited me, the first question I asked them was, who is the leader of the Rotary Club? They said, president. Then the next question, I want to be president of the club. When? So I said, if you're interested, you become the second. Yeah. That's why in 1990, I become the club president. That's why I was able to become the governor 10 years later. Yeah. So as a governor, then you do so many things lah. And then after I finished 2002, 2003, I had the opportunity to become the regional Rotary International Membership Coordinator for Asia. Asia for about 10 countries lah, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, all the way down to Southeast Asia. And of course, at that time, you go around talking to everybody in Asia about membership development, how you can get more members and all those things there. Yeah. So basically that's what's happening in Rotary. And there are rules and regulation, there's training and all those things. And I was a big part of it in trying to do training for Rotary and all those things. Yeah. It's a good service journey for me. So one of the things that happened when I was after my governorship was, as you all know, the tsunami.
Yeah.
The tsunami.
So that's where you want to lead to, because I think well, we understand that you joined Rotary earlier on, and then you had done many projects at district level, Indonesia level, and one of the big challenges which I think you were involved in, and which was the Rotary Youth Centre, and this is in the aftermath of the tsunami in Aceh. So we just share, how did it come about? How do you figure out that that Rotary Youth Centre was the thing to do for Rotary? Yeah.
Well, it's no, this if I flash back, you go back to about December 24th, right, 2004, and many people was glued to their TV in the morning to see the tsunami happening, and I was one of those. I was one of those. At that time, in July, I was just officiated as the membership coordinator for the region, for the 10 countries. And I thought, well, it is something that I have to do. I have to take action and all those things. So the first thing I did, because the story was in Aceh, I called members of Rotary in Medan to find out exactly what's happening. Is Medan affected and all those things? Yeah. So they said no and all those things. So as the story goes on, I felt that I must go and see it for myself to really know what to do.
So you went down to the place?
Yeah, I went down. But I have to go to Medan first, because at that time Aceh was, no, you cannot go to Aceh because of the insurgency, right? The GAM, the Aceh Merdeka movement and all those things. Everybody is afraid to go there. All the Rotarians in Medan stopped me. He said, don't go in there. It's dangerous. It's not good for you and all those things. So I had to have breakfast with them, convince them that it's okay. I know Loksukon. I will go to Loksukon, talk to the army. And then if they say it's okay, I move on, and yeah, just try to pacify them. But in my mind, I have to be in Banda Aceh. So I went up there. There were 3 Rotarians. It was me and 2 ladies. One is the district governor and one other lady. So we went up and stayed in Loksukon one night, because I need to know also from the army what's happening there. And they told me it's okay to go. So I left and we went and get to Banda Aceh. It was if from Medan there, it's about 14 hours drive. 14. Yeah. So when we got there, we went around. By the time we got there, it was rubble was every day and all those things. And then the smell of mayat and all those things was every day. We have all this mask, supposed to be very good mask. It still pierced through and all those things. So we went through. And we went around, we spent the day, went around looking at things and all those things. And at that point, I decided that we have to do something, but don't know yet what to do. I said, let's go back to Medan tonight, and then we think about it along the way. So went back, and result was I started writing to Rotarians all over the world. Of course, I write to HQ, we need this help and all this thing. I list them things down for them, what they need to do to help. And most of them, I tell you, try not to give me used items. Give me cash if you have. That's basically what it is. So that's how it goes. And then a week later, I go back. I go back to see, to look exactly what I need to do. Right? So when I went around and take a look at it, I saw that a lot of people are helping the children and the elderly. And the youth, the youngsters, secondary school, the university students, nobody bothers about them because they're old enough to take care of themselves. So I thought, well, if I help children can't do anything. I help the old guys, difficult. So if I do the youth, maybe I could use their energy to do something later on.
So you did somewhat of a needs assessment, looking at the ground and so on, and understand that basically maybe the better way to do it is not just the kids and the elderly, but really to energize the
young people,
the youth to bring it up. That's beautiful.
So I went to the university there, University Kuala or something like that, and talked to the people there, talked to the rector and said, okay, this is what I want to do. Can you tell those students who needs help to come and see me? So I quickly rented 2 big houses that can house about 60 students. I mean, the house was side by side, and these students were all they so ingenious, They build a hut in the middle of the 2 houses, connect them, and that's where I stay every time I go. So I go to Aceh regularly. About every other week, I spend about 3 or 4 days there, because basically the students need counseling, you know, and all this. No, they lose everything. They lose their parents, their books, everything, and all those things. It's just nothing. It's just their body, their shirt, and all those things. So you need to be sitting down with them and basically I consult them and tell them, stop thinking about looking for help.
Yeah.
You need to think about helping yourself. So I was big on talking that way and all those things, but then I tell you, I don't know what to do.
So I'm sure you face a lot of challenges in terms of trying to build up the youth center, whether it's funding, whether it's local, whether it's political support. So what are the key things that you leverage on to overcome these challenges?
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, other than asking Rotarians for help and all these things, you know, and basically, yeah, you work with the youth, you work with some of those people there, and I do a lot of talking there, basically inspiring them to say this is not the end. You have to think about how to get yourself out of this. And number one, always I tell him, don't think of asking others to help you. You have to think about helping yourself. That's why I always say, I am always there to enable people. I'm not going to help you. I'm going to help you to help yourself. So that's how we do it.
Yeah.
And after a while, people get to know. People get to know that we have a postcode, you know, a Rotary Centre there and all those things, rented house, and all that. And people start coming and say, okay, can we do things to help, right? One of the things I had was from one company who's based in Singapore, who gave money to Rotary Club in Australia, saying that we have, 384,000 for you to do for Aceh and all those things. So because by that time I was made the chairman of TDM, chairman of TDM, chairman of the tsunami disaster management. So I was the guy. If you all need, if Rotary needs to do something in Banda Aceh, in Aceh, that was me. So I get a lot of calls and I was able to communicate with them. I mean, Australia, Japan, and all those things. And Australia says, I've got this money. I said, well, I mean, it's good, but I said, it's not enough. What we want to do. So we need to get more. So they said, okay. And good enough, they're going to have a conference, you know, about a few months later, they said, why don't you come to Sydney? I get you to speak at the conference. So I went to Sydney and talk at the conference, blah, 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 all those things here. Brought my staff, show people. When I was there the first time, I didn't get a slot because everybody thought, oh, we've planned this, there are no slot and all those things. So what I did was I just, at the site exhibition, I put everything about tsunami, turn everything loud, bring the crowd in, and they watch the videos about tsunami and all the things. And, you know, and when they say, you need to speak here. And then I said, well, you ask them, tell them, give me a slot. And I managed to talk. So when I spoke there, I finished. When I left, it was on my birthday, November 21. When I left at the airport, they tell me we've got 1.2 million pledge, $1 million pledge.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So I go back. There's this money. Then when I came back, there was another call. When I was in Jakarta, they said, "Pa, are you in the office?" Yeah. The Bupati of Aceh Utara wants to talk to you. Have breakfast with you tomorrow at the Mandarin. I said, fine. So I was thinking, what does Bupati want? Now I've got money, you know. I don't want him to ask me for the money. So when there, talked to the Bupati said, thank you, Pak, for doing all these things, because he got all these stories from all the people, all the university students and all the things. He said, we admire what you do. We like what you do. We want to help you. And I said, okay, what do you want me to do? And he says, can we give you land? 21 hectares land.
How okay, for the Singaporeans who don't understand what a hectare is, can you describe it in like size of Ang Mo Kio, size of Tampines?
I don't know, man.
Is it somewhere like a size of Tampines, the whole estate type of thing?
More like Toa Payoh lah.
Toa Payoh, okay. But that's big enough, yes.
That's big enough. Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do? You say, because he's Aceh Utara. He's on the Loksokon side, but they have land in Banda Aceh.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I say, okay, we have land there, you can use it. So, okay, fine. So we've got land, we've got money. So I collect all the Rotarians, Rotarians, we are in Rotary because of our profession. We have this, what we call this classification. You're an architect, you're like me. I'm not known as an owner of a business or something like that. I'm just known my classification is oil and gas, So
Yeah.
I went through the classification. I called all the architects, the one and all thing. I said, "Nem, you need to do something for me, need help here." But
Yeah.
in the meantime, I was talking to the students. I said, "Now we've got land, we've got money. What do you want?" So we had a seminar, so small seminar about 30, 40 people. And finally they say, "Pak, we'd like to have a dormitory. And then the dormitory must have mosque, must have a small clinic, must have this and all this thing." So I list down everything. I say, it's good. Then I call one of my friend, Vicky. I said, "Hey, give me some drawings, that would show how this thing would look like and all those things." But one of the students came back about a week later. "Pak, why don't we call it Rotary Youth Centre?"
Okay. So that's how it came about. Yeah.
Yeah. Then I
Okay.
said, "Okay." And then he goes further. He said, the aeroplane always pass this place. So actually, when the plane pass, if they look down, if the center looks like the Rotary logo, that would be fantastic. I said, "What, this guy's dreaming." So I said, "Okay."
Yeah.
But I took that idea. I know it's impossible to do it, but I said, I took that idea. I put the videos on and all this thing and sent worldwide. Everybody responded, wow, fantastic. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then
So
when we get the money, we've got the people and all those things. And the other thing was, who's going to manage this? Yeah, then, I mean, you cannot, you can just build, and then what happened? Who's going to look up if you have a dormitory? It's for
yeah.
orphanage and all this, or the students staying there. Somebody's got to manage it and all those things. Then we went to approach SOS. SOS is this village, like orphanage village. I mean, they're professional, and they were also looking something to do. We said, "Okay, let's combine." I say, "We have the money to build this and all those things. Why don't you manage it?" So we cut a deal with them for 3 years. They will manage the whole thing. Yeah, kan? So they manage the kids, they manage the mothers, everything lah. So we put all those things together. Everybody's happy. We start working.
So in the end, from all the from you going down to the ground to understand the needs, to talking to people, getting support, right, and then actually co-creating what this Rotary Youth Centre, with the support of the ground, with the community, right? How do you feel about the impact for Rotary Youth Centre? Today, right? What is the outcome of this effort that you did? In terms of building the Rotary Youth Centre?
Well, it's been what? It's been from 2004. Today is 2020. So about 15 years past.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you talk to me about this impact thing, I went and researched what happened basically there, to see exactly what happened. And to my surprise, I mean, you all can look into the report put together by Huffington Post, and the buildings was there. It's nice. Now they have futsal, they have the medical center, they have the multi-purpose center where they have training, they have the computer lab and all those things there. And I know that some of the students were sent to Australia for university studies. And one of the lady, her name is Dede, she was the one who is instrumental in helping me through all these things, And this lady has received a Bush Clinton Foundation
Fulbright scholarship.
Fulbright scholarship. She went to Arkansas to take educational leadership. So today she is managing the center.
That's
so it
beautiful.
runs on its own. It runs on its own. I remember in 2011, we returned the whole property to the local government. Yeah. Because I mean, Rotary, we don't have the capability to manage that. So we turn it over to the local government and say, "This is our property, but you can have it. It's on your land anyway." Yeah, we think the land is for lease. And then we said, all we need is for you to allow Rotary to come in to do our service work as and when we think we want to do it. So that's the bargain. So now Rotary in Australia is still supporting them, Rotary in Japan is still supporting them, and all those things, as they go along.
I think this is a very good example of really looking at a need, ground need, and then really looking at how can you serve the needs and really build capability, right? And then if you love lasting social impact, in a sense. Yeah. So thank you so much for Osman.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing which I wanted to briefly discuss, and before we go on to an open floor session, is actually beyond Rotary Youth Centre. Actually, you are also quite involved in the development of the education landscape in Indonesia, right? So big question. You didn't really you didn't go university. You know, you from the University of Hard Knocks, and you have pride yourself of being a terrible student, right? But you learn a lot, right? So the thing is, so what made you focus on education in the first place?
That was just an opportunity presenting itself, right? You know, in 1994, I was made the vice chairman of the Singapore Association. Singapore Association started about a few years before, and I wasn't there because I thought, you know, if it's just an association member, I wouldn't be interested. I want to do something. I must do something and all those things. So in 94, I was having lunch with my family and all those things during lunch, and the Singapore Association is having their AGM. I got a phone call from this friend. He said, Osman, he said, I said, what? Your name is on the board for election to vice president. You know, I said, how come I'm not there? I'm absent. He said, no. We ask everybody. Everybody says if he agrees, the name stays on the board. I said, okay, fine. What do you think? He said, yeah, if you like. I said, okay, fine. You know, because if you tell me I become a vice chairman, I will do it. Yeah. So I was on the board and I was elected vice chair. And the next year, I become the chairman. Because at that time, the chairmanship was 1 year. We make sure 1 year, you know, I mean, in 1990s, you know, I mean, difficult for people to stay long there. You got one term is good enough. Yeah. So I was there. When I got in there, they were talking about international school for Singapore children. And one of the problem when I was with the ambassador at the embassy and all the thing, what he sounded to me, he said, this is the problem. He says, now we have a lot of weekend fathers. You know, they come in on Monday, they go back on Friday, and that has caused a lot of family problems. You know? So he says, so they were thinking if there is a school for young children, not for secondary school, you know, for young children until about maybe primary 6 lah. Then it would be good. You can bring the family over, the children can go to school. That was the main reason for the talk at that time. So so I thought, well, that's not bad. You know, I didn't do anything because I started, you know, I know and all the thing. So there's a lot of talk. So towards the end of my term, I thought, you know, what is this association doing? Nothing, you know, nobody wanted to talk about it. So at the end of my term, I decided that we will do the school. And by just saying, okay, we will do school, I will be the chairman for the school project. Yeah, self-elected lah. Because everybody like, I don't know anything. So that's how I was involved. I elected myself to be the chairman of the project. Yeah.
So basically, again, right? You're an oil and gas man. In what position are you capable of setting up a school, right? Because
you see, I don't know education, but I'm a businessman. By that time, I'm a businessman. Businessman means that he knows how to do things. So, first thing, the challenges like you have to find a place, you have to have a school, you have to what, you know, you have to find teachers, you have to, you know, all you have to have the curriculum. I mean, curriculum is not a problem lah because we know Singapore and all the things. So the first thing I said, I must have the place.
Yep.
So we decided that we approached landowners. We select one of the landowners, went there and tell them, look, you know, if we put a school in your land, we will call it Singapore International School. The upside to your property will be, I told them so many percent at that time, you know. I mean, they laughed at me and they said, are you crazy and all this stuff. So when I left, I thought, well, maybe it's not a sell, you know. But they told me where they could put the school in Jakarta. I mean, if you know Jakarta, there's a place called Gandaria there and all those things, and there's an apartment there, and next to the apartment at that time there's land to put them. So he told me that. So I thought, well, not bad, maybe I should develop this idea. Just go and see the land first and then tell them yes. Okay. So I went. Just about a week, I went. I decided that I would go to the apartment and go up to see the land from high up. So I told the sales girl, I said, look, I'm looking for a place to rent. And I want it to be 18th floor and above, and then looking south. So because I want to see the land. So she thought I was so serious. Took me up there, show me the land and all this thing. I look at the land, wow, not bad. You can have the school. So I came down. So on the way down, on parting message, she said, you Singaporean, pa? I said, yeah. You have kids? I said, yeah. If you stay here, there will be Singapore International School there. Within a week, the news spread already. So I tell myself, you laugh at me, but now you tell all your guys that you're going to have a school there. So I went back to the guy and it happened. Yeah. It happened. We're going to build a school there. But then again, I said, no, if I have to wait 6 months, it's too long. I have to start immediately. Then he told me, okay, I've got a sports center somewhere in Pluit there. He said, why don't you take a look at it and see if we can use it for temporary measure. So I went to look at it, like it. I come back to him. I say, okay, you give me 14 rooms, put the rooms fully aircon, put all chairs and tables there. I will start the school there. And also you have apartments there. It's empty. Nobody's there. I wanted to rent apartments for the teachers that I'm going to bring in. So I said, I will pay you in 2 years. And he agrees. I must be an angel or something like that. So everything goes. So we started the school there to start while we building the school at Gandaria there.
So it's amazing that I do recall in our previous conversation that you went through it and initially it started to provide an education system for Singaporeans living there, right?
Yeah.
And then subsequently you.
No, wait. Now I need teachers.
Yeah. So how do you do it? Yeah.
Of course, the first thing I do is I was in Singapore. I went to school. So the first thing in my mind, I came from a premier school. I got to go back there and find all the teachers that I know who taught me before, And then I make arrangement to see the principal the ex-principal of this school who had already retired by them. And I asked a friend to, you make this appointment, I will appear. Because if I make the appointment, he probably won't want to see me because I'm a rascal at that time, So I went to his house. He said, oh, he looked at me. Oh, you? He said, yeah. I brought a full pack of papers. I don't know what it is, but I said, I put in front of him. I said, look, I want to build a Singapore International School in Jakarta. Yeah, of course, narration, for this reason and all this. He looked at me. He said, what a noble gesture, Then he went through what I saw. He said, you are not ready, I said, no, that's the reason why I'm here. And I will tell you something. He said, I'm not going to leave until you commit. He looked at me and said, no, I'm too old to do anything. I said, okay. And I talk. And then about an hour, he said, okay, this is what I will do for you. Exactly what he said. He said, Osman, I will give the school a strong foundation. Wow, I mean, coming from a man like that, whom is a jewel of education in Singapore, I took his hand, okay, yes, it's okay. And I said, I need a principal. He said, don't look at me. I said, get me a principal. So he told me, my vice last time, he wasn't so happy where he is and all the things. And I said, okay, can you call him now? I'll talk to him. So he give a call and I go and meet this person. I went there. Within 1.5 hours, he resigned and joined me in Jakarta. So I've got a consultant, from my premier school. I've got a principal from my premier school. Both of them, top notch. Bring to Jakarta. Everybody thought, Osman, you got a coup, man. You bring all these guys in there. And from then, the teachers and everything become so easy because, you get feedback and all those things. Yeah.
I think it's amazing how basically from an idea, from a problem, a problem that we had, and then you actually managed to suss out what the options, try to no challenges. You didn't have funding. You managed to get the real estate company to just build it for you. You get the education system sorted out by delivering on your connections, and it's amazing that actually, can you share with us what has happened since then, since
Okay,
the
then
first Singapore International School?
when the school starts,
Mm.
you know, I mean, it was you know, when Singaporeans put things together, it's fantastic, lah. You know, it's first class. I will tell you, it's a first class. So when it started there, my Indonesian colleagues, a lot of them friends came and said, Osman, you've got a good school there. You know, I went there. Only 20% of our children can go in there. This is by the international school regulations lah. You know, can you help me get in? I said, I can't, because there's a government regulation. I have to follow it. But then he said, okay, why don't you set up more schools that our children can go in there? I said, you're talking now, man. Give me the list of children who will join my school. And he gave me a list of some 200 or something like that. And yeah, you know, if one of your friends say, this is the list of children who want to go to the school, what do? I mean, I can't say no. I go in there, I said, okay, we'll do it. Yeah. So we start sourcing around and start the other school. So by then, from one international school, we start another school in Kelapa Gading, start another school in Kebun Jeruk. We start with 3, and then we go to Cirebon, then we start at Peak. You know, we have all the schools in there. And by that time, you can, it's not called international school anymore. It is a locally registered school. I went to talk to the minister. I said, Pak, I mean, for this school, let's call it SNBI, Sekolah Nasional Bertaraf Internasional. You know, that's what I wanted to do. But the people in Kemendikbud, that says, tidak keren, you know. Now I tell you what they want to call. And finally they tell me, they give me the name. Let's call it National Plus. That's how it all started. And National Plus became a school there for about 15, 20 years. It was abused. The name was abused because so many schools call themselves National Plus, charge higher fees, but they don't have even English in there. So now it's gone. So any school that has the name international before and all thing in Indonesia today, the name has been changed to intercultural school. You know, no more Singapore International School or what have you. Yeah.
So basically, what you brought in was you brought in Singapore curriculum.
We brought in Singapore curriculum. Main feature would be English, maths, science, taught in English. You know, then you have to incorporate the local curriculum lah. Put in there, especially religion, agama. We have to change that to, I mean, whatever social studies and all those things, because we don't do religion in Singapore, and it was approved. We can do that and all those things. So basically, it's a combination, and of course we have to modify the Singapore curriculum to fit the Indonesian punya, mannerisms and all those things. Because Singapore, we are hard drivers and all those things. You know, the Indonesian can't take it. So we have to modify and then make sure that it's okay for them gitu.
Okay, so that you modified that, and I understand also you brought in quite a number of teachers, right? Because you need people to deliver the curriculum, and how many teachers do you bring in?
Okay, teachers. I think I engaged some between 300 to 400 teachers like that time, you know, from overseas. I mean, we tried to bring Singaporeans in, but you know, Singaporeans are all very expensive. There are not many Singaporeans want to stay over. So we source out the Philippines, some from Malaysia, some from India, and Mandarin teachers from China and all the things. So we brought them in, and I mean, hiring teachers is another nightmare lah. I would go to Manila, you know, because of my Rotarian connection. I tell my Rotarians that I wanted 25 teachers, but you have to allow me to talk to about 250, you know, gather them in Jakarta. So I tell them, come and see me at this hotel and I will give them all this. So I went to the hotel, they come. So it's a mess thing. I will have 50 teachers one time, do presentation, what we do, what we expect and all the things. and if they like it, ask them to fill in the form and then give them tests. After that, the next 2 days we go to them, and by the time we leave, we will have 25 names.
Amazing.
So 3 or
Yeah.
4 of us went in there, and we just have to take the risk lah. Sometimes they arrive like it's and all those things. So we got it going.
Yeah.
It was one thing when I do the school in Medan. I hired the teachers last minute. When the school opens, we have the opening in the morning. Teachers, parents come and all those things. In the afternoon for 1 week, I was coaching the teachers in the room. What to do and all those things, and the parents are all watching. That's how it happened.
Okay, I think you roll with the punches in a sense. But in the end, how do you feel about all the impact of this? Your effort. It all started out actually. You from Singapore Association trying to help Singaporeans, with their kids, the
Well-
family part of things. But then now it became a bigger thingy which spread. I think there's many schools have been built right with that similar curriculum. Even the adoption of IPSLE right was actually partly spurred by this. So how do you feel about the impact of?
That was a really good model, Singapore International School for Indonesia. It's a good model. A lot of people, try to emulate it, do the. Of course, they wanted to be different. They bring IB and all this, so we had follow IB and all this. But if you talk about the impact, is tremendous, lah. I mean, other than children, other than teachers and all those things, but I think it's Indonesia wide, even up to Indonesia. When I opened the thing, it was Singapore thing that they were talking about. Singapore International School. How do you do it? Can you do it now? Like the Merlion school I did in Surabaya. So I mean, it's great. I mean, if you tell me, I think everybody would be happy with the fact that the school is there. We were able to contribute to the country. Hopefully in years to come, people will remember. They don't have to remember now, but years later they will say that was the Singapore International School that started a lot of these things going.
All right.
People, yeah. And for me, I'm just very happy to just pat my own back and say, hey, you did that, mate. That's all.
I think thank you so much for Osman. I know an hour is always a bit tough to try to cover all the points that you have, right? And basically the thing is, I think you've proven in terms of what the process in which you assess the needs on the ground, and after that find your resources, and that requires an entrepreneurial type of mindset. And then it all goes back to social impact, because I think the key part that I want to say is basically how does someone from an entrepreneurship background, right, look at situations and look at what the needs are and then come up with a solution. And there's many things which we can glean from there, and many things that we can learn from the sharing that you had just now. So at this moment, I just like to open the session to the floor. You can unmute yourself, or you can use the chat function to have questions for Pak Osman and for myself. Then we can just keep it open, keep it relaxed for the next 15-20 minutes or so, and then we'll see how that goes. Anyone who would like to have any questions, you can use the chat function as well. Okay, while waiting for people to unmute themselves or have to ponder what to ask or to type in the chat function, I would like to ask Pak Osman a few questions. So in terms of basically the youth in Aceh, right, in the Rotary Youth Centre, what do you think are things which were unintended consequences from the Rotary Youth Centre? Pak Osman?
Do you mean unintended consequences?
Yeah, of having the Rotary Youth Centre, because I'm quite sure when you first started out, right, there were certain plans, but of course there were also other things that came about from it. So what were some of the unintended consequences or outcomes which came about from there?
Oh yeah. If you want to do one by one, it's quite a lot, lah. Because the connection with outside world, especially Rotary. I mean, a lot of Rotary clubs were pleased that they were connected with the tsunami affected people there, and people around the world will be very very proud to say, oh, I supported the tsunami project, and all those things. And I mean, you can hear that drumming around, and with Rotary support, a lot of things that they want, all they got to do is just tell them what they're thinking of and all those things. And Rotary, with people with many different professions, they can find people to fly over to Banda Aceh to work
Yeah.
with them.
So in a sense, the Rotary Youth Centre became not just a project that solves the problem at that point of time, let's say within 2-3 years, but it became a platform.
Oh
It
no,
opened the
no, yeah,
doors,
yeah,
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 for other
yeah.
clubs to
The,
come in.
the the idea was not just to that's why I said, I talked to the youth. I said, you need to be able to ask what to tell people what you want, and don't be bashful about it, because they are in Rotary. There are people who are willing to do things for you. You know, although I'm not a Rotarian now, but I still feel that if they ask me, I would do something for them.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Then and so basically, are you still in touch with the people in the Rotary Youth Centre right now?
Yes, yes, yeah,
Ah, so basically, it's good to hear. Is it Dedek, right, that you mentioned just now that
yeah,
she's
yeah,
now running the center,
yeah.
and then she has really one role model. And I was hoping that she would be able to join us today, but I guess she had something else on.
Yeah.
In terms of the school's education, right? Uh, I see that basically the choice of using Singapore curriculum was something which was sparked or started from the Singapore International School, right? Can I know whether the Singapore government actually had any support or gave you any support in this whole initiative?
Uh, Not really lah. No,
Ah,
well. But wait, no. I mean, ambassador arranged for me to meet MOE, right, in Singapore. And when I visited MOE, it was at that time, it was some professor from the Singapore International Foundation, minister, and all thing was there. I had lunch with them. I complained to them. I said, look, you ask me to talk to these people. Everything they tell me, this is classified,
mm-hmm,
meaning I cannot have access to it. You know.
mm-hmm.
So of course, people like me, if they tell me that, I will tell to the minister in the face and all those things. So face get red and all those things. I say, never mind. It's you have to decide what you want to do with yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
then there was a visit. I have to single this out. There was a visit to Jakarta by Dr. Who Teo Chi Hian. Teo Chi Hian. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he visited. I met him. The committee met him, and he gave me his card. He said, Osman, if you need any help, give me a call. Never did call him, but I tell everybody what happened. So the MOE supports us lah.
That's great. That's great. I think the key part about it is for all those of you who are keen on certain social products or community projects and so on. It's really about being brave, being daring, to being a bit of a dreamer in a sense from Pasman, right? To dare to make an effort towards something, and and with that effort, doors will open up. Being daring enough to actually try something which no one else dares to move, to take action. If I were to quote Osman, right? He said, read, observe, learn, experience, right?
Experiment experience.
Experiment and experience. So that is important, very useful. And actually, if you relate to something which is very current, is all about agility, about being agile, because it's all about learning, experimenting, and then experiencing it and doing it over and over again, right? That's where you have the whole cycle of agility, where you have the scrum and the sprints and so on. But it's always trying to iterate and trying to find new things. And so that's why I thought that this session with Osman was so important, right? Where we are able to glean from his experiences, his very grounded experiences from his oil and gas sector, building his career, and subsequently his business, and subsequently his experiences with Rotary, building the Rotary Youth Centre, as well as the the many international schools that he started. I think, Osman, you did share with me before. You have how many? Singapore International School. There's how many of them right now?
There are 8 Singapore international schools
And
in Jakarta, Medan, even in Palembang.
yeah, and then
And
there's also
the PSB school
Mm,
in Jakarta, 2 of them. Oh,
yeah.
I mean, because no, I have to tell you this because I was chairman of the Singapore International School when I left to set up Singapore PSB school. You know,
Mhm.
the first few months I couldn't get any support to the point that I had to start 2 schools open at the same time, so to
Mhm.
convince people that I'm serious. So if they have Muri or what have you, they have to record that in Muri. Who has started 2 schools open at the same time? Yeah, kan? That's
Yes,
Singapore
yes.
PSB school. And then another school I did was I helped out was Singapore Merlion School, the Merlion School in Surabaya.
Mm. Okay, great. So, so I think that's just thank you so much for sharing with us
Yep.
all the experiences, and I think we can glean a lot or learn a lot from Pak Osman's experiences, and I think it's something which is not not exactly common in the 90s or 80s or even 2000, where people talk about iteration, but doing things, experimenting on things. The level of risk taking that was done as well was actually quite amazing, if I could say so myself. And that's something which we want to have more of, to have conversations with people like Pak Osman, right, where you can share in terms of their experiences, and then ideas in terms of how to move things ahead. For Pak Osman, is about creating social impact through really assessing the needs as well as finding the resources, and that requires a great entrepreneurial mindset. With that, I would like to also share with everyone about the upcoming sessions that we have. And coming on is on 18th of May. We're speaking with Isman on business agility, right? In terms of how companies attempt to balance need for speed and control and what's truly needed to develop business agility. I think, Pak Osman, you would also have many points to share in terms of how you have helped develop agility in making decisions, coming out of new initiatives. That's also very relevant. And the next session on social impact will be on the 1st of June, where we get some perspective from the funders, where we'll have Mr. Dondi Hananto, who is basically a partner for Patama Capital. They do impact investments, right? About fundraising and the myths and the real life stories lah. So we hope to have you again for the next few sessions, and do share with everyone in terms of this series of conversations that we have every fortnight on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Singapore and 3 p.m. Indonesia Barat. Before I close, Pak Osman, would you like to have some words to share some things with the rest of the participants here? Words of advice or so on?
I've done okay. Well, anyway, dream. You always have to dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, and I mean, I am obsessed about helping others, to enable others. I don't like to use the word empower too strong. I just like to help others to do what they want to do. So you enable others, and in order to be there, you have to put yourself in a position of a leader, so to speak, because you have to lead. If you don't, they say, nah, nobody will follow you. Yeah, kan? And you must be daring, dare to be different.
Mm.
And in this case, when you look at projects like this, take risks. You have to take risks. You cannot play safe.
Thank you,
because
Pastor.
because your intuition will be there to tell you if it is right. You will find something to make sure that it happens.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Pak Osman, for your sharing.
Yeah.
If anything, if you guys want to be in touch with Pak Osman, I think you can find him on LinkedIn as well, and then can connect with him, or you can also connect through me. My website is on www.groundup.asia, and look forward to seeing you guys again for the next session, next round of conversations. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you, Pak Osman, again for
All
sharing
right.
with us
Yeah.
all your
You're most
experiences.
welcome. Thank
Yep.
you, everyone, for listening. I hope I don't bore you. It's I'm still looking for opportunities to do more.
Yes, Osman. Yes, on your fourth chapter, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much for thank
Okay.
you everyone. See you again. All right, Pasman.
You.
Thank you so much. I think we can close the session today.
Okay.
We can link up after this. Just to have a chat on other sessions lah. Boleh?
Okay. All right.
Have
Thanks
a
for
good
having
one.
me. Thank you for
Have
having me.
fun for your meal.
Yeah.